Okay, here we go. Life work number 5. I made an introduction to the sisters and the women. Now I'm making an introduction to pastors. All right, if you're a person who generally calls yourself a pastor, or if people call you pastor, cut it out. Just plain stop it. Call yourself a brother. Because the role and the definition of pastor has been so messed up for so long that I was raised in and am still walking in an atmosphere where that role is completely misunderstood and twisted to a point where the one who is supposed to be nurturing souls is actually a business person engaging in nonprofit business with Jesus Christ as their business. But they are not actually anointed and blessed to be a nurturer of souls, and they have largely abandoned sometimes the power of the Holy Spirit, sometimes the teachings of Christ, and sometimes the respect for the relationships in the church and the community, in the Chavirah and the community. Because the church, the gathering of peoples is in a home. It's in a home. It is a home. It is in a home where people can share their hearts together first as the most important thing. So, Mr. Pastor, if you're coming close to these things that I'm sharing, be encouraged, be delighted, and redefine who you are and what you're doing, and the fact that you should rest in the fact that you're an excellent business person. You should rest in the fact that you're an excellent teacher. You should rest in the fact that you've been trained in the stuff of the word and the wisdom and the worship and the going out and the caring for the poor and all those various things that you've been trained in. Celebrate that. But then begin to grow communion groups in the homes where the children's hearts and the parents' hearts are all shared together before the communion time, before the prayers, so that we are a clean organism. No more cattle call gatherings where everybody is putting on a facade and a performance that has lots and lots of Jesus stuff in it, but is not exposing the true errors and evils. We are rich, fat, and comfortable in America, and our number one gift is just the fact that we were born in a freedom of religion zone, and we can sing about Jesus on a street corner without being shot. That is your greatest gift. We don't need miracle signs and wonders. Miracle signs and wonders are great for proving that Jesus is God, but Satan can actually use a multitude of miracle signs and wonders to snatch people up into a way of gathering that does not have the teachings of Christ. Do you understand? Pharaoh's sorcerers could imitate all of the plagues except for the tiniest things. And the tiniest thing that Satan can never imitate is the honest opening up of hearts together in a home. True, loving honesty about those things that are bothering us. That is the one little thing that Satan will not try to do. He will shrink back when you're having your thank you times, and he will shrink back when you're having your honesty times. And that's why Family Honesty Camp is focused on happy thank you times and happy honesty times where we have nothing hidden in our hearts. If you are calling yourself a pastor, a shepherd of souls, your role is to actually sit in a home, in a cluster of families, and listen to the people's hearts so that you can go off and spend time with the Holy Spirit to discern how to minister and guide them out of their lifestyle sins, out of their bad habits, out of their wrong mindsets. That is the work. The work is not doing a 3-part sermon. The work is not going out and healing people. The work is not all those other things. It is listening to and nurturing the souls. My father was a child psychologist, kindergarten to 8th grade, nurturing souls. My mother was a juvenile psych nurse. and a nurse in the era where they taught you how to pray for the soul as well as studying medicine. So I was raised in the counseling and caring for souls part of the tribe, and I have become an expert by God's grace in caring for souls and giving them an outline of how to live. I present these things to you, Mr. Pastor, as a service, not as a condemnation, but as a service to you and to your people. If you have a building, set guidelines in place. That building, if you own a building, should be a place that houses people in prayer 24/7. And that in that housing of people for prayer 24/7, people in your neighborhood know that they can come in for help and for counsel, for love and for prayer, for healing and for just friendship. Your building should have inhabitants that live there in prayer, just like the temple was. Your building should be a gathering of communion groups that all take care of the work of revealing their hearts to one another before communion in their homes. There's no such thing as a cattle call communion where people just stand in line and walk up and take communion in the early church. None. No example of that. So the way that you look at your building must be just like the temple. Otherwise, the demons are going to have powerful license over you. And the more the internet extends, the more people are learning these things. That Havirah, true Havirah, true church, true ecclesia is in the home. And it is not evil to have a synagogue, a gathering place, but the real manifestation of the friendship of God is in the home. And if you stand up in your building and you declare, hey, everybody here belongs to a communion group in their homes. If you don't have a communion group, if you don't have somebody to be real with right now, you can go to the back of the auditorium and there's elders there that you can talk to and join a Havirah. We are going to have a communion time now. But we have communion with those that we're confessed up with as a celebration. This is your challenge right now, Mr. Pastor, to actually transform your whole mentality of how people gather. Because a time is coming when the sweetness of persecution is going to fall all around you. And if your children and your constituents are not prepared for the excellence of living in the persecution zone, then you are going to be held responsible because you have done a wicked work. You have rushed ahead with the powers of the Holy Spirit, but you have not brought the detailed teachings of Christ for the home and the street and the day-to-day life. Bless those who refer to them